Hi, welcome to Let's Cook, where today on Let's Cook we are doing salsas or relish. Basically, a salsa means sauce. It's a condiment. Now, when we talk about sauce, whether it's cold like a salsa, or it could be served warm, you could even serve it hot, it's a condiment that either complements or contradicts a given dish, which is really what a sauce is. So the first one we're doing today is I'm actually calling it American relish. And let's take a look at, as a matter of fact, I need to show you the dish because this is a dish where and these are all different salsas or condiments or relishes that we're actually making today on Let's Cook. This one being the first right here. Let's just go back to this one right here. I'll show you this. This is the, I'm calling it American fruit relish, even though I'm using a little bit of mango in it. So I'm going to be using some mango, some cucumber, not cucumber, rhubarb. This is the weirdest looking cucumber I ever saw if it's a cucumber. It's rhubarb. I don't know where the cucumber came from. A little bit of apple, and of course some cherries. So the first thing we'll do is, I like this part because it's not a dental tool. It's actually a cherry pitter, so I get to go ahead and pit my cherries. And you need to really make sure you pit the cherries, remove the pits. If you can't, and by the way, if you can't get fresh cherries, you can definitely use dried cherries. Just reconstitute them, and they'll work just fine with this. Reconstitute them in a little bit of warm water with a little bit of sugar in it. So we'll just pit our cherries here, one at a time. Is this a great tool? Love these tools. It took me 2 years to find this cherry pitter. Every time I would go to, a store where they'd have small wares or goods like that, I always look for a cherry pitter, and I had one, but of course I misplaced it, and he's just out of this world. So we'll take our cherries, and with our cherries we're going to cut them in half or cut them down. Everything should be about the same size for this. Now the nice thing about this fruit relish is there's natural preservatives in the fruit that are going to maintain it, but they will release some sugar and they will release a lot of color. So I would say one day with this salsa or this fruit relish is all I would really hold it for. So I have enough cherries done there because I already have some done. For the apple, I'm going to take the apple. Now you can core the apple. Make sure if you're going to, and you can leave the skin on or take the skin off. I already have some with the skin off. So with this, I'll just take and I'll cut it down this way, drop it down on its side this way, come here, turn it this way as well. Now another trick with the knife, when you make the cut through here, if I pull it, you can go like this. If this sticks to it, just hold your finger here and pull the knife through. That way it won't stick on you. So we'll take our apples. And the apples, we're simply going to dice up the apples. Nice small dice on the apples. Now the apples have a tendency of oxidizing. Cherries, contain a good amount of pectin, which is a natural preservative, but it won't prevent them from oxidizing. So for the apples here that I have right here, we're going to use just a splash of lemon juice in this. The alias cucumber, but that we've decided is a piece of rhubarb. You cannot eat the leaves on rhubarb. They're poisonous. So you need to make sure that when you take this, you wash it, you clean them real well, and you have none of the green of the rhubarb. Then we just take this and we dice this up as well too. So far we have some cherries, some apple, some rhubarb. Now we also have right here, we have our mango right here. Now when you're working with the mango, the seed goes across this way, and the way you're able to tell is if you just take this and put it this way, it's going to fall on its side. This is the way the seed is running. Now with this, when you go to work with this, and this is also loaded, by the way, this is loaded with what we call bromelain. And bromelain is really good at breaking down connective tissue. It contains natural enzymes. So with this, and when you peel it, make sure you peel away all of the skin and just leave that wonderful textured fruit. And when you go to cut it away, and I'll just peel half of this just to show you, when you go to cut this away, you cut this away, and you can actually feel the fibrous part right on the inside here. You can actually, I'm going to put this closer to my chest so you can actually hear. See how fibrous it is? It gets very fibrous. And this we just dice up as well. Now to mix this all together, We have our fruit here. And now the apples that are right here, let me just drain these off here a little bit. Drain the apples. I have some more rhubarb here. Wait till you see the great color in this. Some cherries. Our mango. Now the other thing that we have in here is we have mint. Now the mint, you could take your knife and you can shred it, but if you want, you could also just tear it just to release some of the flavor there in the mint. Then to this now we add our salt, sugar, a little bit of corn syrup, just a little bit here. And again, remember, this is very sweet. And then just finish this with a little bit of lemon juice. You need that acid balance. We just take this, we mix this together, and then we have a wonderful salsa or fruit relish. American fruit relish is what I'm calling it for your item that you've made, whether you grill it, whether you broil it, whether you pan fry it. It goes good with almost anything. We're going to take a little break, and then when we come back, I'm making one of my favorite salsas. It's a cucumber salsa. Don't go anywhere. It's Salsa Time today on Let's Cook. We'll be right back. Hi, welcome back to Salsa Time today on Let's Cook. Now, we did the American relish with the fruit. Now we're going to do one of my favorites. It's a cucumber salsa. And I have the ingredients right here. And essentially, I'm using different peppers here. And everything is a small dice. We have red, yellow, and green peppers. I have some cucumber. We have the cayenne pepper, the lemon juice, the olive oil, a little bit of sugar, salt and pepper to taste, and of course the parsley. This is just with parsley. I'm using flat leaf parsley, but if you don't want to use flat leaf and you wanted to use coriander or any other herb that's available, feel free to do that. Now this is a European cucumber. And what I find with European cucumbers is you can eat the skin because it's not waxed and it's much thinner than a regular cucumber, but I still prefer to peel it because, look, it's nice. You can throw this, also save this, save that. If you grow anything in the backyard, it's very good for your, where you garden, for your compost. Now, for the cucumber here, what I like to do is I like to take it, I like to split it in half this way. Even though I say the seeds are much smaller and they're not as bitter, they are present. I take my knife and I cut it down this way. Now there's a couple of ways that you can remove the seeds from this. One way is you could just take a spoon, and with the spoon you can come down and in the middle here, not being too sharp, cut away. And notice all the water that's coming out of those cucumbers. So you can remove the seeds that way too to get rid of that excess water. Or if you'd like, if you don't want to go that route, what you can also do is just take your knife, bring it to the edge of the cutting board here, run your knife right along the edge here where those seeds are, and remove the seeds that way. Either way it's going to work as long as you get rid of the seeds because they are so full of water. Then with this we cut down this way and then we dice this up. Now the other thing that you should learn if you're working, let's talk knife techniques 101. Complete one given task at a time with your knife, which means if you're going to dice up these, your cucumber here, cut it all up into these bâtonnets or these long strips, and then take the long strips and then cut all the strips down. You'll find that you'll end up saving a lot of time in the kitchen, and you'll also be a lot more consistent with your cutting. So we'll take our cucumber here. Now the other thing that you can do with the cucumber, which is a very good idea, especially if you're making it for the next day and you're not going to consume it that day, is take the cucumber, salt it, and then let the cucumber drain. When you salt and you let the cucumber drain and all the water comes out of it, you end up with something that looks like this. It's much drier, and because it's much drier, it's not going to get too soft or leach out nearly as much water into the salsa, which will dilute the flavor. Take all our vegetables here. Now the other thing we have to do is we're going to do the cayenne here. Here's our heat. Here's our little bit of sugar there. We also need our salt. We need our herbs. Now notice the amount of herbs that I'm putting in here. Our olive oil, just enough to moisten this. And of course our lemon juice right here. Another very simple Salsa Time salsa. Very good Salsa Time salsa for the summer. We're going to take a little break. I'm going to mix this together, and then when we come back, we're talking kimchi salsa. Don't go anywhere. It's definitely Salsa Time today on Let's Cook. We'll be right back. Hi, welcome back to Salsa Time on Let's Cook. Now, if if you're just joining the show, this is what we call rhubarb, which I tried to call cucumber, but that really doesn't work. Now, this cucumber, we used it in the first, the fruit salad, or not the fruit salad, but the fruit relish that we made here, and we have some in there. Now, I'm also going to use this in with the kimchi, but for the kimchi, I'm actually going to warm it up and saute it. This is what kimchi looks like. You can buy it in a supermarket. This is it right here. And what this is this is bok choy, or cabbage, that is marinated in a brine with some vinegar with very hot chilies. It's very hot, it's very spicy, and it's just easier to buy it in the market than it is, especially, you know, in the summer. We want to spend as much time outdoors. So you can really just buy that in the market, and then you just chop it up. Now, to make this salsa, which I like warm, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to take, I already have some rhubarb cut here. I'm going to take this rhubarb with a little bit of water that had a little bit of acid in it, and I did that to kind of lock in the color there a little bit. Now to this, I'm going to add some brown sugar. I'm going to let that cook up. We're just going to let that really cook up nice and hot. Dissolve that sugar, almost start to caramelize. Stay warm. To that, I also have some celery here. Now the celery I won't put in with the rhubarb. I'll keep that separate in a bowl right here. I also have my kimchi right there. I have my juice that I'm using right there, which is just a little bit of orange juice. We have our parsley here as well, finely minced. And we're just going to add this to this. Once this cooks down just a little bit, it's going to take about a half a minute. I actually would like to put a little bit more kimchi right here in my salsa. So I'm just going to take a little bit more kimchi here, cut this up real fine. Now this will also last a long time in your refrigerator too. So we'll just cut up a little bit more kimchi. My nostrils are burning from this, so unless you like something really hot, you want to be careful with this. So here's a little bit more kimchi in this salsa right here. And let's look at our liquid here. Going to let this cook down. See the great color that we're going to get? This is really going to enhance the salsa that we're using. That was just a little salt in there, and I'll also add just a little bit of pepper to this. Cook this down. Now, as this cooks down, it's going to actually soften the rhubarb. It's also going, you know, the rhubarb, if you've ever eaten raw rhubarb and you take a bite of it, it really kind of causes, it's almost like a lemon, really causes, it's astringent, causes you to pucker up a little bit. This will sweeten it up a little bit. It's still going to have the crunch. It'll maintain some of its integrity. Then you mix this with the kimchi and the cucumber. Oh, out of this world. Okay, so we'll just take this down. Drop this right into here while it's still nice and hot, and then we toss this together. This as well is going to really bring out the flavor of the herbs that we have in there and everything else. So here we have our delicious kimchi salsa. We're going to take a little break, but don't go anywhere, because when we come back, we're going to take a couple of different proteins, show you how to cook them up to go with all of these wonderful salsas we made today on Let's Cook. We'll be right back. Hi, welcome back to Let's Cook. I'm pacing here a little bit because I can't wait to eat these salsas. But before I eat these salsas, I need to show you what we actually made so far today on today's show. So let's just look at these. This is the delicious kimchi salsa that we made that's slightly warmed with the rhubarb, out of this world. Then we did, I'm calling this an American fruit relish, except that it does have the papaya in there, or the mango, I'm sorry, but it has the cherries and the apples. And of course the cucumber salsa here with a ton of parsley and different peppers, olive oil, salt and pepper, all out of this world. Now, we need to make a protein to go with these all these wonderful salsas. So I have a little bit of salmon here, and I'm actually going to show you how to bread the salmon. But right here, I have some beautiful salmon that you'll notice I've cut very thinly here. And you'll also notice that I left this part, this fattier part here, closer to the skin intact, because that's loaded with the omega-3s, and that's actually very healthy for you. Now, to bread these, a lot of people get confused in breading, and I think it's very difficult to get confused if you just remember the month of February, or Feb, Because if you remember February, or Feb, and you use it as an acronym for flour, egg, and breadcrumbs, you'll always know how to bread something. So just think of that cold February month when you want that fried chicken and you're going to put it through the breading procedure, flour, egg, and breadcrumbs. Now, I'm going to take an egg here. Now, the other thing is the egg, we're going to add a little bit of milk to this. Just a little bit of milk to this. And I'm also going to take and season this with a little bit of salt and pepper. I'm also going to season my flour with a little bit of salt and white pepper. I'm also going to season the fish here with a little bit of salt and white pepper too. Why am I seasoning all three things? Because then everything has flavor, and I know the flavor is going to come through. The next thing we're going to do, right here, we just beat your egg with the milk. Now, the other thing that I'm doing is I'm also utilizing fresh breadcrumbs. Let me show you what the fresh breadcrumbs look like. See these beautiful, let's get a shot on this. This beautiful fresh breadcrumbs. You see how nice these look? Don't they look beautiful? Notice there's no browning here, and they're still somewhat, they're not totally wet and moist, which means they're not going to stay together when I press them, but they're going to produce a delicious breading coating to go on my fish. Now, before I even start to bread the fish, let's take a look at our oil here. Now, I was thinking about this right before we went to break, and I said, well, how can I show them how to tell if the oil's hot enough? It's going to be very hard to get a thermometer here where this tip, without having to touch the bottom of the pan to make sure it's hot enough. So it's going to be touching the bottom of the pan. It's going to get an improper reading. You can go like this, but still the thermometer is not going far enough in there to make sure it's ready. So, a couple of different ways you can test. One, take a bamboo skewer like this, put it into the pan. You see how this is bubbling there? Bubbles right away. There we are, see? See how it's bubbling to get a better idea? That tells me that my oil is hot enough. Another way you can do it, don't throw water in this, by the way, very dangerous splatters. Take a little bit of breadcrumb. Drop the breadcrumb in there. Does it start to fry up right away? Does it start to brown up right away? Then we know it's hot enough. Now to bread, we take your product right here. Make sure it's very dry. Now, we've already seasoned this with salt and pepper. We need to make sure it's very dry. Take it, dredge it in the flour. Now, flour is real good because it develops gluten, it seals the product, but it does affect the way we taste. Flour inhibits tasting. So we'll take that, shake off all that excess flour. We come here, out of the egg wash. That's what that's called, an egg wash. We have one hand wet, one hand dry. We drop it into the breadcrumbs here. We press it down this way. You press it down this way. Notice, this hand stays dry. This hand is wet. I never take my wet hand and put it into the breadcrumbs because this is what I end up having right here on my fingers. And after a while, they get bigger and bigger and bigger. It's almost like a snowball going down the hill. We don't want that. So can you show my fingers? Can you see my fingers here? See how they're loaded with, you don't want messy fingers like that. Okay. Now, to fry these, and I'm going to do this beautiful piece of salmon here right now too, but now to fry these, when you drop these in a pan, take it this way, bring it here, and you're going to allow it to drop away from you. Notice the oil is, and then move the pan immediately to make sure that the fish is moving. The other thing, if you're going to bread, and this is a piece of salmon here, but that's a nice piece of halibut I had too, and I'm going to fry both of them. Notice now to turn these, if you want to make sure they're done, before I turn this over, I'm going to see how the edges here are starting to coagulate, and also I'm starting to even get a little bit of browning action there. This is when I take it and just turn it over gently. You see that great color that I have there? Oh, this is going to be delicious. Now, these go great with the salsas. So, I already have some done already here, but I only have a minute left to show you, so I'm going to I have a little bit of each salsa here that I'm just going to set up onto this plate right here to serve with the two types of fish that I just made right here. Okay. Yeah, I already have some cooked right over here, so I'll take this one right here. And then I'll take a beautiful piece of salmon, nice and hot. Make sure that you take this and you pat it on paper towels before you serve it. Serve that on the plate. But doesn't that look delicious to go with some wonderful salsas? And of course, we would take put a little bit of green on the plate as well. Well, we definitely weren't dancing to salsa today, but we definitely made some great salsas today on Let's Cook. Thank you for watching Let's Cook today. You have a great day, and we'll see you next time. Bye-bye for now.